let me talk about the future of office work and work generally, but especially office. So actually this is my office. It's a very small room. Let me show you around. That's all. And now this is March 2020. We are in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic, and it is already the present, the change, the big change that everybody was waiting for has started. The office life will dramatically change and simplify in the future. So to understand what's going on, look at an office work from three different perspectives. There is the physicality, for example, paperwork. There is a human factor, that communication between people, and there is information. What's happening that people now work from their home office, and both management and employees who were resistant to this idea to work from home, they forced, because of the virus outbreak, to work from home. And yes, they experienced some difficulties, some inconveniences, but the main point is that now they actually accept. They overcame to the small difficulties, and everybody starts to realize that it works. So people can work. And what made it possible is the technology. So the physicality of the job, that sometimes we need, let's say, paper, or sometimes some samples. Maybe it's a designer company and sometimes they need some physical samples. So delivery can solve the problem if it's very important. Maybe drones can bring the things through your windows to your home if it's necessary. But basically this big obstacle was that people used paper to put the information on there, and now more and more company do everything digitally, so they don't even need to sign any paper. They can do it with digital signatures, and it's solved. So the information part is solved in a lot of cases. The people-to-people connection, yes, people like this to connect to each other, but now during this virus we cannot, and we can accept this. We realize that we don't have to touch and smell the other person. We just can see and hear, and it's enough to get the information. And information can go through internet free, and it's very easy. We have Zoom and many other way to video chat free all over the world. So the big obstacle, the thinking of the people that, oh, it will not work and I don't like this. Now we are forced to do this, and we see that it works. And what it means, that now everybody is the competitor of everybody in the whole world. For, let's say, I'm in Hong Kong, and a lot of people were employed in Hong Kong because their locality, they had to go to the office building. So one is that we don't need local people to hire, and we can, if we are employees, we can work all over the world. So the person and the company doesn't need to be at the same place, so people will compete. It also leads that we don't really need in longer time employment contract, because it can be most of the things kind of easier connection, let's say project based. So a company wants to hire somebody, they give a very small project. If the person finishes the project with good quality on time, they pay the money. So it will be project based payment. And if they like the person, they will give the next project. It's huge benefit for the company because they can find people all over the world in the busy season, so they can immediately scale up their the work production. And when in the low season, they don't have to pay money, so they just pay for performance. It also means that maybe the companies don't need to hire people, no employment, and they don't even need to care the certificate, the diploma, university degree. They just want people who can finish the job. So for example, let's say it's a software writing project or make an application. They don't need to hire people. They don't even need to care whether the person has any formal qualification from a university, for example, to do the job. Maybe the person learned everything by himself or herself, so if the person can do the job, it's okay, then we pay. If they don't deliver on time, then we don't pay. That's very simple. So it makes everything will become very, very flexible, and it will have an impact for the people, that people don't need to go to universities and waste a lot of money and years from their life to learn useless things. They will learn by themselves, especially when they have a specific project. Then they can get their knowledge very quickly by themselves through the internet, learning from other people, maybe even free, and they can then do the job and then prepare for just improve in their whole life, so they can do more and more this kind of projects. So in this case, companies maybe don't need an office at all. Maybe they can have a small office for sometimes to meet personally, or for some reason they need. But let's say if a company now has 1,000 employees in a city, in one building, 1,000, maybe they can move to a smaller office where there are only 100 people. There's a place for 100 people. So it means that maybe, let's say, 20 people for some reason must be there physically every day, and there are 80 spaces that if somebody for some reason has to come to the office, they can have meetings there or they can work there. But let's say most of the people work at home, and when they have to come to the office to work, they just sit down at one of the desks. It's not their desk. Maybe next day another person will sit down. It means there will be a huge, a much less demand for office space, which means the renting and the price for offices will go down all over the world. And maybe, especially in Hong Kong, where flats are very small, maybe people realize that they need a little bit more space, so maybe they rent or buy flat with larger space. So it can be that the residential property the price and the rent will go up, and office buildings and renting and buying offices will go down. So what I expect, there will be a huge flexibility. Of course, not all the companies, but companies who actually overcome from this stubborn management thinking, or the employees' stubbornness that they don't want to work, they first-hand experience that it works. People can be sick and still can work from home. They can have contagious disease. They can have broken legs. Maybe they have diarrhea and vomiting, and still they are okay and they can work from home at the computer. So if we look at this, because of we start to focus on the information aspect of the work, and we can do online talking, video conference, we can send information, videos, images, and even if there is a physicality in the job, the delivery service, or maybe very soon there will be maybe drone taxis, not deliver people but deliver packages, and of course it can be impact like visit for the doctors, but it's another topic. So a lot of things you don't need to go to visit a doctor. But in this video I'm talking about the offices. So my prediction that the huge positive impact of this coronavirus outbreak is that companies and employees realize this. It will change the needs for less need for formal degrees. And we don't need long-term contract with people. It will be everybody can compete for jobs and projects for all over the world, and companies, employers can find people from all over the world. It will be much more balanced. So when in countries where the salary is very high, it will go down. And in countries when they have well qualified people who can work from home, it will go up. Of course, it will be a huge impact on the IT industry. There will be a lot of new solutions, like helping like a Zoom. The stock prices went up radically. We will need to solve all aspects of communication and working together and working alone, and there will be a lot of free software. So what it means that the cost to operate a company will be much less. For example, the legal work, it's basically this document, reading documents and correcting documents, so people can do it at home. So everything, the legal services will be cheaper. Accounting services, people don't have to be an accountant and go to the office. Everything will be digitalized, the invoices and all the bills and everything, and people can do at home. It will also change the lifestyle of people. They can get up whenever they want, they can eat, they can go out, and they work whenever they want. The main point, the focus will be finish the job, and the people who can do a great job, they will earn more and more money. People who are not reliable, they don't know what to do, they will become very poor, they cannot find. And another one, is not enough in the future, it's not enough just to do the job very well, but you have to be able to market yourself. So like what is job interview skill today to get a job, that will be replaced by something similar, but it's about marketing skills to find people who can give project work for you and build a relationship. So it's a kind of version of the job interview, but it's much more about negotiating a lot of specific about the specific jobs. And of course we have to standardize it. There are already solutions for this, how to find, for example, tutors or computer programmers. There are this kind of websites. What happens is that now it becomes a mess. So even 10, 20 years ago, people could find this kind of jobs through the internet all over the world. It's not new. So actually what I'm talking about, it is not new, but it will become mess, huge. It's basically, this will be the new standard. Everything that can be digitalized and emphasize the information part. So always look at this, that is an information and human part, and the physical part, and the physicality of things, they disappear. Dematerialization of the world. For example, earlier computers were huge, they needed a huge room 50 years ago when I was at the university, so long time ago, before at the university. Now it is just you have a laptop. And of course companies will not have this kind of cost that they have to buy the software. So it will be the requirements to have computer and software at home, and probably all the software will be cheap. So what happens to the companies that the cost, the fixed cost, which is the two main things, is the office rent and the fixed salaries, they will radically reduce. It means that the prices, generally speaking, will get lower and lower. And of course, when there is a lot of logistic and deliver, it means that because the office space goes down, probably the storage space for physical goods will be also go down, the rent. Very soon, in a few years, there will be self-driving cars, so there will no need to pay drivers. So what I expect, that there will be a huge deflation. Of course, in the very near future, there can be inflation because the production all over the world stopped, so there will be not enough goods and it have inflation. But when we finish this virus problem, life will return in normal, and there you will see huge drops in prices, like oil prices. It's not just the market up and down and fighting. It is about there is new technology to produce more energy in different ways, and it will pushes down the oil prices. It's much lower than before. Of course, it can go up for many different reasons, but there will be less transportation. Let's say that if you don't have to go to work, then there will be need for less movement of cars and buses and trains and everything. So there will be less demand for energy consumption. So it also pushes down. So actually what I see that a lot of jobs will be eliminated. A lot of jobs will be made at home. Other jobs will be done by computers and robots. So the people probably will move towards a higher and higher level jobs, some creativity, innovation, AI, design, and service for people like nurses and doctors. But of course, the whole, not just the education system and the office work will change, but also the medical. But I don't want to talk about this. So be prepared that these changes that I'm talking, it is the present. I experienced this in this month, March 2020, and it will not go back. It will totally change everything. Education, work, transportation, everything totally change. Be prepared.